holding events just to talk about what's new. Okay, what's new, what you should be aware of, how to identify, quality diamonds, whatever it is. We've got all sorts of reasons to hold an event. It is very inexpensive today to get people to an event. Now again, events are nice because they're education based. It's not sales, it's education. So come for the education that just so happens to be put on by one of our sales professionals, and we've got an opportunity to talk with them. We also were able to start capturing their information. Because if on Facebook they say to us, hey, yeah, I plan on going to that event, guess what? We now know who they are. They've digitally raised their hand and said, please market to me. That's a great way to do that. A lot of times events are a little bit softer for us to be able to get people to engage with us. Website ads, they're very, very typical. Now Instagram. Instagram's growing very, very quickly. It's technology, its marketing platform is driven by Facebook. If you're comfortable with Facebook, you should be comfortable with Instagram. But the one other thing I'd say about Instagram is the way that you can do stories and the way that you can do video ads is phenomenal. Okay, so I really encourage you to research this a little bit. If you have good content to push out there on Instagram, it's one of those platforms that's got a nice pocket of efficiency right now. Yeah, pause there. Questions, thoughts? Is this helpful? Are we on the right track? Everybody smile and nod for me to make me feel
Are
good.
there truly,
Please, don't fire away. Yeah.
are there truly like best times to post on Instagram, on Facebook?
Yeah, and unfortunately it's even more tricky than that. Is there a best time to push a sales piece as opposed to a video, as opposed to an education piece, as opposed to a whatever? We use the technology that we use internally to manage all of our social media accounts is called Buffer. It automatically identifies for us the right time to push different pieces, okay? I'm not recommending that for everybody because it's $100 a month kind of a deal, right? It's just another one of these stupid costs, but that will automatically help us identify for our market, for our audience, Thursday afternoon at 2 is the right time to push that baby out there. Yep, and it's different for everybody. We've got doctors, dentists, Costco, like I said, lawn care guys, whatever. It's different for all of our clients. It's never the same. There are general rules as far as what days are best, but that doesn't work for us. We want to know per client which one's going to be the best for us. Did that help answer your question? Okay. Other questions? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about YouTube. YouTube is, video in general is a fantastic medium for us. YouTube is especially interesting right now because we go to YouTube to do what? There's two main reasons. Say that again. Waste time. Yeah, you've seen my son on the couch. That's weird. Okay. We go to YouTube to be entertained. We're looking at cat videos, right? And to be instructed. Those are the two main reasons we go to YouTube. The thing that's interesting about the education piece, though, again, we have all been trained over the last 2 decades that whatever we see on Google, we trust. In Google, we trust. Okay? And YouTube is the same, has that same affiliation. And so we go to YouTube and we say, you know what, I really want to understand the top 10 styles of pendants in 2020. When we watch one stupid video from somebody in their grandma's basement, we now are believing everything that they say. And so it's interesting that when we're able to run good video ads on YouTube, it comes with a tremendous amount of trust and clout right out of the get-go, okay? So, and I'm not saying that we all need to run out and generate 50 different videos and run a bunch of ad campaigns. But if we have creative assets right now, if we have good videos, maybe from manufacturers or partners or whatever it is, great. With a little bit of effort, we can repurpose something like that, make it our own, and we can start running those ads. The other nice thing about YouTube, unlike regular TV over the air or cable TV, you don't pay unless they watch the entire thing. So they skip it after 5 seconds, which most of us do. You got free advertising for those 5 seconds. So again, pro tip there, put your brand and put your message right in those first 5 seconds. So even if they skip it, they saw it, okay? But unless they watch 30 seconds, you don't have to pay for it. It costs you nothing. Even if they do watch it, a lot of times we're talking about 10 cents or less per view. That's pretty inexpensive. You can target all the same ways, demographics, keywords, etc. on YouTube that you can on Google. Your targeting can be fantastic, very inexpensive, and again, we're coming to YouTube, and so we have a tendency to believe a lot of what we consume right off the bat. Questions? Okay, now we'll get a little bit creepy with YouTube because it's fun and we can do that. Well, here's an example of a YouTube ad, right? There's one from VRBO. You actually get the message, right? The video playing. You also then get this wonderful ad right here that shows up. You kind of take over YouTube. Now, here's where it gets a little bit creepy. You can, and ma'am, I'm going to put to you again, penetrating a new market, okay? Or if we're going after a large competitor, if they've got YouTube ads, or they've got YouTube videos, you can go to Google and say, hey, Google, this competitor right here, before anybody watches one of their videos, I want my ad to show up. What? Yeah. Anytime you can go and say, Google, that competitor right there, if somebody wants to watch one of their videos, show my ad first. You can do that. You can also say, hey Google, anybody that has been to their website and they go and watch a cat video, I want to show my ad first. You can target very, very specifically. So again, we look at it and say, some of these other advertising costs are going up and our marketing budget is only this big. How do we get really targeted traffic? That's a very inexpensive way to break into a market to try and capture a little bit of market share from a very strong competitor in your area. Okay?
When you say you go to Google, do you mean go to you to go to Google, or go to someone like you to go to Google, or we go to Google?
You can go to Google if you're comfortable running Google Ads. This is all done inside of Google Ads. If you're comfortable doing it, you can jump in there in Google Ads. You can talk to me. We'll get you set up and help you either teach you how to do it or we'll do it for you, one way or the other. And if you have a Google rep, which is kind of rare these days, you can talk to your Google rep and they'll do it for you.
So John,
Did that help? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please.
does your company also provide the content too? You guys can help with that, or?
We can. Yep. We've got videographers and we can put it all together for you. Yep. Yep. Good question. Other questions? Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit about display ads. Anybody in here use display ads very often? Yeah, in the back. You guys, we'll just keep your hand up. How about that? Okay. Again, display ads are it's something that's been around for a long, long time. Display ads is a little bit of a catch-22. Okay, and I want to be very clear and honest with that. If we're not watching what's happening on our display ads, then all of a sudden our ad is showing up on the little kid's, app on mom's phone, and you're getting tons of clicks, and the bounce rate is 99%, the time on site is less than a second, and you just burn through $200, okay? However, display ads are, when you're using them correctly, when you've got them really targeted and you know what you're doing inside of Google Ads, they're a fantastic way for you to keep your brand in front of your prospects, okay? We already talked about remarketing, which is where your ad follows them around the web for a few months, right? Display ads, we can come in there and remember how we talked about uploading your list? You can upload your list to Google and say, show that group and only that group my ads. Okay, now the nice thing about that is if we're able to segment our lists a little bit, we can identify, maybe it's with age, maybe it's with income, maybe it's with ethnicity, maybe it's with whatever. We can start to target those lists very, very differently and show them creative that's going to be much more relevant to them. Okay? You're going to see a much higher return on your display ads, and you're going to see better performance once they get to the website. Okay? Display ads, oftentimes they're very inexpensive. There's two ways to bid on display ads. You can either say, hey Google, I'll pay you $10 for every 1,000 people that see my ad. Don't do that one. Or you can say, hey Google, I'm willing to spend 35 cents per click for my ads. Do that one. Okay? Because again, if they don't click on your ad, you got a free billboard. And that's Let's use free marketing, please. Okay? Any thoughts or questions on that? All right. Display marketing is very effective. Again, we do the cautionary tale here is if you have the same ad running for 3 months in a row, the first 2 weeks that it's up, you're going to do pretty well with that ad, and then all of a sudden it's going to take a nosedive and you're going to see very little performance, and then Google's going to stop showing. Okay? So when it comes to display ads, we have a rule that we're only going to run them for 2 weeks. And then we need to change something up. Change the image, change the text, change the offer, change when the offer date closes, change the button, whatever it is, we make a lot of changes on display ads to keep them fresh. Please.
What's the difference between a display ad and a remarketing?
Very little, other than the fact that if they, a remarketing ad, it's a display ad for all intents and purposes, but it's only showing to those people that hit your website, okay? A display ad is, hey Google, we want to show our ad to everybody with these demographics, or that are interested in these topics, or that are on a page that talks about engagement rings. You can get very, very detailed with how you tell Google to do that. And again, that's one of those areas where a lot of people don't put a lot of time into the display ads. They just say, yeah, I just want to, put it out there to the masses within 30 miles of my location. But you can say, no, I want to show it to people, this demographic, this income, this age, whatever it is, and I only want to do it if they are in the, if they are in the mindset to pursue jewelry. Does that make sense? Okay. Did that answer your question? Perfect. Other questions? Okay. Please, in the back.
Hi, okay, so you had said that with the remarketing or the retargeting ads, 5 times maximum hit, is that per the 90 days or a day? Or does that basically work out to the 2-week window that you're talking about?
Good question. Let me clarify that. When it comes to a remarketing ad, so this is the ad that you're showing to people that have been to your website, the creepy ad that follows you, okay? You only want to show it 5 times per day. So you can go into Google and you can say, Google, I want a daily cap of 5 times. Now that's conservative, I'll tell you that. You can be more aggressive than that. But we don't ever want to put any of our clients or the brands that we work with in jeopardy of being like creepy uncle, right? We want to make sure that our brand has great affinity, so we cap it at 5.
5 times a day per person.
5 times a day per person, that's correct. Yep. Yeah. You had a question, sir?
Yeah, what about geofencing? I had somebody talk about marketing, and they said, whenever they hit your street, just ads can come up on the phone. When they pull up to my competitor's store, does that work?
It does. Geofencing is, you're looking at areas that are about that big,
Right.
okay? And so do we do geofencing? Yes, we do. But we find that it is very, very targeted, and so we're talking about very little impact, okay?
That's what I want to
We can accomplish the exact same thing, but do it on a bigger scale and still be very targeted with display ads and some of the other things that we've already talked about. The one thing that I love about geofencing is we can set up what's called a conversion zone. And that is, a lot of times, guys, right now, we're trying to generate foot traffic. We want that person in our store, or we want a phone call. Phone calls, we can track those all day. Today, we're very good at tracking where phone calls come from. But foot traffic is a totally different thing. So you can set up what's called a conversion zone. So you basically draw a little circle around your locations, and you say, if they see one of my ads, and then that cell phone makes its way into my store, I know that my ad worked. Does that make sense?
Right, yeah, that was one of my questions to them. How do you know it's working?
Yeah. And a lot of times, and this is a big pet peeve of mine, any idiot with a computer can tell you that they're a digital marketer. They've done SEO. They know the Google, right? You're gonna get burned, or you have been burned by one of those groups before, okay? Work with agencies that are going to report on the most important numbers, okay? Because otherwise they're gonna tell you, we got 3.5 million impressions last week. Well, that's amazing, right? No, that means jack. Unless you got people in my store, or to call me, or heaven forbid, you got revenue coming into my store, then I don't care.
Right.
And so conversion zones are a way to justify some of
Yeah,
that.
that's something with advertising that always confused me is, show me it worked.
Yep.
Prove to me that I spent $1,000 and got $1,000 back.
Uh-huh. Or more. Or heaven forbid, more, 1,001, right? Yeah, exactly. And if your agency or your, the people managing your stuff, if they can't answer those questions today, where we have so much data and so much information, you need to find somebody else to do it for you. Okay, I'll be kind of quick on this. How are we doing on time? Okay. Display ads, again, we can do a lot of really unique targeting on this. You can say, hey Google or other display platforms, I want to target people that have been to one of my competitors' websites, okay? So again, How do you break into a market? Or how do we compete with a large established brand? Or we're tired of spending money on SEO and not seeing an impact. How do we get volume? You say, great, Google, I'm here, there's 17 competitors in my city, and I'm looking at this gentleman right here that said, yeah, we're in a city that's crowded, right? You do upload all of the competitors into Google and say, hey Google, if somebody ever goes to one of these competitor websites, I now want to show that person my ad. Because you know they're searching, they're in the market for what you have to offer, okay? You can also do it to, like I said, target previous clients or customers, and then you can also create that bucket of people and say, hey Google, here's the bucket of people that have done business with me. I want you to find another bucket of people just like them, and Google will do that.
Can you tell Google to block that from happening?
You can't. I wish. Wouldn't that be nice? So unfortunately, because we can do it, so can they. Meaning if we can do that to your competitors can do that to you. Yeah. Other questions?
Yeah, they probably are doing that to you too.
If you've got a big box, big brand inside of your market, there's a chance it's happening to you already. Yep. I will say that is a pretty darn new technology. So it may, if it's not happening to you this year, next year I bet yes. Okay, get more from your marketing. You know what, in interest of time, sorry, we're gonna blitz through this one. It's fine and dandy for us to generate awareness and to generate traffic, but if your page stinks, then it ain't gonna do you any good, okay? So here's a couple of things that we're just gonna talk about real quick. If you're going to pay $1 to get somebody to your website, you need to point that dollar, you need to point those eyeballs to a page that is built to get a conversion, okay? Do not run advertising to your homepage. If you do, shame on you, okay? Because your homepage is built to do a lot of stuff. It's built to help people that are looking for your store find your phone number, find your address. It's there to promote the new spring line. It's there to blah, blah. Your homepage has to do about 100 different things. But if you know that somebody is in the market for pendants, don't send them to your homepage. Send them to a page that just talks about pendants. And heaven forbid, why your store is the very best in your market at that topic. And then you also should have some social proof and some other things on there to get the conversion, okay? Does that make sense? So, rule of thumb, if you're willing to spend $1 to get somebody to your site, you need to point them to a page that is relevant to what got them there. If you do that, you will see the performance, the efficiency of your marketing dollars skyrocket. So it's a very important concept there. We'll kind of skip through this, I apologize. If you want to learn more about landing page optimization, squeeze pages, and that kind of thing, I'll have my contact info at the end, we can have a conversation about it. And now let's talk about tracking real quick. Tracking nowadays is free. Okay, Google Analytics is free. It will do 95% of what you need to do from a tracking standpoint. If you do not have Google Analytics installed on your website, call me, we'll do it for free, okay? There's no reason that you shouldn't have good analytics on your website. And if your agency or the people that you're working with on your website, if they're not giving you regular reports about what's happening on your website, so for example, what pages are being visited, how long are they visiting, is it guys or girls, what demographics are they, how much money do they make, etc. If you're not getting that kind of information, call me, we'll set it up for you for free. Sorry, we'll kind of blitz through here. Here's another thing. Most websites have between a 5 and 10% conversion rate. What I mean by that is, if you get 100 people to your website, 5 to 10 of those will either call you or fill out a form online or wind up being foot traffic coming into your website. Another way to say that is your website fails 90% of the time. Not great, but that's reality. Okay, what that means is, if we've got somebody that is on your webpage and they are going to leave your site, the chances of them coming back are not great unless you have really good remarketing, win-back campaigns, etc. Okay, they're going to leave your website. Why not show them one last offer? Okay, what we mean by that is, as the mouse, this little preview, as the mouse goes to hit the back button, your page changes and says, hey, before you leave, if you come in today, if you call today, if you join our email list, we'll take 10% off your next offer, or your next purchase. Okay? They're leaving. You're not gonna see them again. Why not do something to try and get them, to push them over the edge to take action? Call us today for a consultation. Call us for whatever. Sign up today to be notified when our new spring line hits. Whatever it is, put an offer in front of them. It's called an exit offer. The technology for this is free. It's something that everybody ought to be doing. Okay? Nobody loves pop-ups. But 90% of the people, when they're leaving, 90% of them ain't coming back. Might as well get something in front of them to see if we can convert them. Site speed. This isn't the marketing tactic, but it has such an impact on everything else you do that if your site is not very zippy, you need to take action on it. If your website is slower than 3 seconds, actually jewelry, you guys can cheat a tiny bit because your websites are so image intense. It's really hard to get your websites down into 3 seconds. Okay? We work with a lot of people in auto, it's kind of the same idea. You have to have those big, beautiful images. But if your website takes longer than 4 seconds to load, you've got a problem. Okay, again, if you're willing to pay $1 to get somebody to a website, and I'm not kidding, we've worked with jewelers, we've worked with a lot of other industries, some of those websites take 26 seconds to load. Do you think anybody sits around for that? And these guys are spending thousands of dollars on their advertising saying, well shucks, I don't know why it ain't working. We can give you 26 reasons why. Okay, that's every second. This is a stat, this is right from Google. 53% of mobile visitors leave a site that takes longer than 3 seconds to load. If your website takes 6 seconds, for example, and you get it down to 3, all of a sudden your revenue is going to go up. Your foot traffic is going to increase, and your phone volume is going to go up. Okay? Just by making that kind of a change. The way to check this, there's a lot of different tools. Google has their own tool to check how long your site takes to load. If you're curious about it or you have questions about it, call us. We'll give you a report for free that tells you how long it takes to load. Mobile, if your website's not mobile friendly, you need a new website. Today's day and age, you have to have a mobile first strategy. So I encourage you today, don't wait, today, pull up your website on your mobile device, and if it looks a little funny, you need another website. Now a lot of times that doesn't need to cost you more than $3,000 to $4,000, okay? But if it looks cattywampus on a mobile device, you're losing cash. We're also going to skip through this so that we've got time for Q&A. Let's talk about online reputation, okay? Right now, how many of you guys are trying to get reviews coming in? Okay, how many of you are not trying to get reviews? Oh, I love you. We need to fix that.
I know, I hate being asked. When I leave the store, it's like, write us a review. I hate that.
Because everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's doing it. The other thing about that is, right now, anybody have an idea? We'll play over/under. If you have 100 people that come into your store, how many of you think more than 10 of those people, so 10%, how many of you think more than 10% will leave you a review? Okay, how about how about 5? Okay, we think it's 5. Okay, how about 3? 2? You're all wrong. 1% of the US population currently leaves reviews. 1%. You have 100 people come in. Now, let me clarify. That's not 100 people that come into your store. That's 100 people that buy. Out of that, 1 will leave a review. That's what the data says. In jewelry, it's a little bit higher. You guys have more of an emotional connection, right? We're working very intimately with people, and when they leave, they're thrilled, okay? So yours is a little bit higher, but right now, I know I've got the Review Lift guys in here because these are guys that I've worked with in the past. I know Podium's also here. We meaning the Review Lift guys, they can get that number to 20%. Okay, now you mentioned I hate being asked. When it's tastefully done, I actually don't mind because I'm actually happy to leave a review. Okay, but if you're not using some sort of text-based, don't use email. If you use email, most of the time your rates are going to be about 3, maybe 4%. Okay, now that's better than nothing. Don't get me wrong. But text-based systems, 99% of all text messages get read. 95%, maybe it's 93, get read within the first 2 minutes. Okay, so I know the Review Lift guys, but they've got a platform where as you're walking out the store, you say, hey, would you leave how was your experience with us? They say, it was great, we love you. You say, great, we'd love to hear your feedback. You'll actually get a text message with, from us within the next couple of minutes. Please take 30 seconds and leave us your feedback. And then they get a text message and takes them right to Google, okay? Now, where should we be getting reviews? Anybody? Google is one. Where else?
Facebook.
Facebook, where else? Yelp. Yelp is the devil, sorry, in my opinion. Yelp is the devil. The two biggest ones, Google and Facebook. BBB is kind of nice. There are some other ones depending on different industries. Jewelry's doesn't have one that's real prominent. Yes, Yelp is probably going to be the third or fourth in there, but Google and Facebook are the juggernauts right now. The reality is right now 85% of consumers trust an online review as much as a personal recommendation. Folks, that is just stupid. It's just crazy. But that's what we have today. Amazon has trained us all to look for stars. Google has trained us to look for stars. If you don't have a 4.0 rating or better, you need to take some serious action on this. That if I have a rating less than 4.0, this is the most important thing that I do in 2020. If you have less than 100 reviews in jewelry, this should be one of the most important things that you work on this year. Here's the other thing. At the end of the day, Google is looking for reasons to trust your business more than somebody else in your market. One of the best ways for them to measure trust is from the community. Because this is hard to fake, and it's easy for Google to track down fake reviews. The example, folks, you can go and you can buy 100 reviews tonight. You can buy them, cost you about $500. They'll dump 100 reviews on your Google account. Guess what? Within the month, they're gone. Google's not stupid. It is very easy for Google to track fake reviews. And so, because it's hard to fake, it's hard to manipulate the system, this is one of the biggest trust signals that you can pass into Google. Now, there's a lot of data as far as how many reviews do you need, and folks, that's relative to your competition. If your competitor, and this happens in jewelry, if your competitor has 800 reviews and you've got 35, it doesn't matter if you're the #1 spot on Google Maps, they are not calling you. They're calling the guys with 800 some odd reviews. That's the reality. So if you're in a market where there is somebody out there that's got a gajillion reviews and you want to be competitive, you need to talk to these guys in the back, okay? You need a technology that's going to get you a 20% review rate, not a 1%. You're never going to catch up. If they have 800 reviews, it's because they're using a system that's getting them a 20% review rate. Does that make sense?
Even if those reviews are bad.
Okay, so no, that's a good point. Okay, now here's another thing that's interesting. And maybe you guys are like me. I jump online and I find somebody that's got 100 reviews and they have a perfect 5.0 rating. Whatever. Nobody's got a perfect 5.0 rating. Okay? I look at that and I say, that's fake. It is perfectly okay for you to have negative reviews. You just can't dip below 4% or 4.0. Now, that's the rule of thumb. Inside of jewelry, there's a lot of 4.6s, a lot of 4.5s, and they've got 800 some odd reviews. It is okay for you to have negative reviews, but you cannot allow your rating to dip very far below your competitors, and that's the reality. Now inside of auto, you can be like a 4.1 and still be good because nobody's happy with the used car dealer, right? That's the way that works. But inside of jewelry, we've got higher ratings with a lot of competitors. Now I know we can't please everybody. We all know that. You're gonna have that guy, that gal, or whatever that's just madder than heck and there's nothing you can do about it. When they leave a negative review, here's a couple of little pro tips. First of all, always take the high road. Never, ever, 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 ever call them out. Never ever say, well, you were a little piece of work too. Okay? Do not ever do that because that thing is forever. That is forever. 5, 10 years from now, people are going to look at that review and be like, wow, no thanks, I don't need to go in there. Okay? That will burn you for years. Always take the high road. Rule number 2, never admit fault. Okay? Because if you get a negative review and you say, oh my gosh, I am so sorry that happened to you. And then the next week, another negative review, my goodness, we dropped the ball. Now you have a pattern. And now people read through that and they'll be like, yeah, you guys, yeah, I'm glad you fess up to it, but you're just poorly run. Don't admit fault. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that you should point the finger at them, but don't say, I'm sorry we screwed up. Okay? Again, that's forever. Yeah,
So maybe this, question for these guys, so if they do leave a negative review like that, can you guys help us have a comeback answer for those companies?
Now, we want you guys to do a fit, because that's the way that Google wants you. They want you guys to be able to respond to review, a response to a review, negative or positive, is important to the review itself.
it is. The response, first of all, you have to have it within 20, I'll reiterate it. You have to have that response. For negative reviews, you have to respond within 24 hours. Okay, any longer than that, and people think, well, you don't really care what they said. You have to respond within 24 hours. Now, your question was, do the Review Lift guys have a plan to help you review or respond? I know that they've got packages where they will have somebody sitting there monitoring your account, where they will respond to the negative reviews for you. They will also respond to the positive reviews. And there are if you don't want to pay them to do that, they will help you get canned responses to positive reviews and negative reviews.
That's what I'm saying, is you
Yeah.
guys have
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a.
We do.
Does it matter if your reviews are on Facebook versus Google?
You want them in both, okay?
Okay.
Now, I know.
I
these
mean,
guys
most
work-
customers aren't gonna do both, I don't think.
Say that again, sorry.
I said, most customers, I think, would do one or the other.
They will, yep, they will do one or the other. Yeah, please.
So, we've had a couple instances where we've had somebody leave us like a 2-star rating, leave their name, no description, then we look them up in the system, and they're not even in our database.
Yep.
So what do we do about something like that?
Good question. You get everybody inside of your store to flag that as inappropriate.
Okay.
Okay, that's the only real mechanism you have. Now, it's a dirty trick, okay? You flag it as inappropriate, and when you flag it, you have an option to say why you're flagging it, and you can say, we have no record of this person in our database, we would love to make it right, but we can't find this person anywhere. We have not done business with them, okay? And you have every single person in your store flag that baby, okay? If one person flags it, Google says, eh. But if 20 people flag it, now we've got it elevated, and we've got we do not have a 100% success rate there, but that is your best shot.
So does that work for both Google and Facebook?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, better with Google than Facebook.
Okay.
Yep. Did that help?
Yes.
Okay. Now we were talking about negative reviews. Always take the high road. Don't admit fault, but give them an option to make it right. Okay. So we always recommend that you say, I can see that you had a negative experience here, and we would love to be able to work this out with you, or we would love to make sure that we fix that experience. Please come and talk to us. Don't put a name, okay? Don't say talk to Shirley, because Shirley's not gonna be there in 3 years, okay? Now we got a problem. Don't ever put a phone number or an email address, because phone numbers change, email addresses change, and then all of a sudden we've got bots that are gonna come and crawl that, and now you're on everybody's spam list, okay? So don't put names, phone numbers, or email addresses, but say, come on in, we are confident we can make this right, okay? Does that work? Any other questions on that? Fish, did you have something?
Yeah,